we're ready to start today's meeting.
All right.
I'm very happy. Last week, we discussed all design and size. The cooperation meeting is Friday. I went to participate, and more than 100 people have contacted me. Everyone calls us the RC speed dream team. I'm very happy. That is our third cooperation meeting. Today's topic is discussion of chassis structure. Welcome our host, Sean.
Icebreaker game. So I didn't really think of a game, but what I wanted to I thought it'd be cool to have everyone give us your hometown or where you grew up, just to get an idea of where everybody's come from. So, but yeah, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, grew up here, live here, and probably will stay here. So,
I'm Long Island, New York. Been here forever. Got no plans on leaving.
I'm from Denver, Colorado, and also don't have any plans of leaving.
nice.
Originally from San Francisco, lived mostly in San Jose, and now in Las Vegas.
Nice. Cool. Did you go to the F1 stuff? I know you were talking about that.
I am so freaking tired. For the last week, I've been working 16-hour days.
Yeah. All right.
I was actually born and raised in Michigan, Southeast Michigan, about an hour from Detroit. And I moved down to Kentucky, Western Kentucky in 2013. Been down here ever since.
Nice.
It's a lot nicer place for speed runs, better
Cool.
roads, better weather.
Yeah, that's good. Better weather kind of all year round. So
Yeah.
it's really a lot better in Michigan. I know I've been to Michigan before, and I know the roads aren't great. So
They're horrible. You
Yeah.
can't speed run in Michigan.
I went to a wedding there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that. Definitely. The potholes were not just, they were craters.
Yeah.
Later.
All right, guys. So topic one, this one I think will probably all kind of be in the same idea here. It's just the four-wheel drive, what to do as far as front and rear, and then the center differential. I think as far as the speed run stuff goes, we need to just have the locked spool in the center, but floor is open if anybody, has ideas either way, pros, cons for having a center diff or not, but anybody's ideas.
I think I think it's always good to have options.
Yeah.
So whatever design provides the most options.
Yeah.
Even for I know this sounds crazy, but even for like a quad motor, the center would be better for something like that, right?
So with the quad, the quad gets a little difficult because you're gonna have to have two gears somewhere in the center drive line for two sets of the motors to connect.
Right.
So, the way I did it, I used one longer spool that fit two gears. The way some other guys are doing it, like with the extended chassis cars, is they're doing 3 drive shafts, 2 spools, 2 separate motor mount systems, and so it's kind of in line to balance out like the motor weight, throughout the chassis. I think I don't know. I mean, I think having these rollers and stuff come with a spool would probably be smart. Then maybe they could do a differential, kind of like
Option.
what Arma has with the infraction to the limitless.
A few moments later.
I mean, if you look at the infraction, they drift fine all-wheel
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
I don't think two-wheel drive is even necessary.
No, I've had couple passes with my VT2s with like a spool cup come off the front before I'd driven rear wheel drive. It's
They
fun.
just spin.
Yeah, it's interesting. But so this topic 2 here, the motor configuration, and this is what we're talking about as far as being able to flip the motor forward back. I think it's super smart, especially if they do it with the dual mounts and allow a spool in the center there to connect 2 sets of motors would be cool. But making sure they do motors up to 58 millimeter, I think, is definitely important.
Especially if
even though
it's
it's only 2 millimeters, if they're already doing a 56mm motor, they need to make sure they have that extra tolerance there for 58s. Because I know they're basically the same motors. Yeah, I think I remember Edison said like right off the gate he was doing the servo up top. Like that's just, I think it's how they're going to come. They should just make them all like that, make it uniform. Definitely would be smart. It works well.
The back with the batteries up
Yeah.
front, like how
Yeah.
I set the VTs up.
Yeah,
Yep.
looks good. That looks real good.
Yeah, and it ends up being really good for weight balance because you know, the weight will kind of transition a little bit as the car is moving. But if you put too much weight to the rear, then you will end up flipping. But having that motors in the back there, I think, are definitely helpful. And some guys may do with dual setups. I haven't been too much into the drag market, but I assume you could still do a drag setup with a dual, and they're going to want the motors up front. So having it go
It's
to
not-
both ways
It's
gonna
not a
work.
very popular thing.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not.
the guys are doing what they're doing with the single setups. They don't need it.
It's absurd.
You know, it's possible to do it with, if they make a spool in the center that's long enough that has the spacing for 2 spur gears, all you're going to need is another motor mount. So, you know, essentially that would be the smartest move, is the motor mount and the bearing support just be spaced apart a little bigger than say the VT2 and the Limitless. That way there's enough room in there to fit 2 spur gears. And then to do a quad motor, all you need to do is have another dual motor mount and then try to get everything else to fit in there. So
And they could have like pre-drilled holes in the chassis as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's exactly what I was trying to have the holes already. If it's held as to as depends on the material they're made of. If it's steel, then no. Titanium, yes, it would be strong enough.
I would guess they're going to use steel. Just because of the price.
I don't know, maybe he'll chime in on that, but
And
I
then the step
think
down
it
should
would
not
be
be as
hard
large.
to do with titanium center driveline for, you know, a price point. It may be optional stuff they could do, but
Then it's probably better just for a smaller step down, like you said, going from spool being 8 down to just 7.
yeah, I would say 7 would
It's enough
probably
to,
be-
it's definitely enough to be used as a block for the bearings that they won't move further together.
Also, you want like what's the ideal bearing size too?
For,
I mean,
for the
For the
day.
spool, I think the standard like 8x16
by
type of
16
thing,
by whatever,
by 16x5, or it'd be 8x7. It'd be
7
or 7
8.
by whatever it is.
7.
7x16
Mhm.
by 5.
I just feel like that's why people do this hobby, is because they want to buy something and then like change 20 things on it and keep modifying, just like real cars. So
well,
I know
that's
for me,
we,
half
what
the
we
fun
wanna
has
do.
always been building.
yeah,
Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's something like something of a mini Z or even the boat that I just finished, I'd rather build than buy it and even upgrade it. Just, kit. I know that this is not going to be a kit, but just giving those extra options.
Right, but the amp draw
yeah.
is
It's
going to
much
be
Yeah, the
higher.
ESC is generally the limiting point, not the motor. So
I don't know.
Yeah, then if your ESC craps out, then you gotta replace the whole thing with the motor.
I think it's going to have to be 4 ESCs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even then,
if they do a good ESC for what they're trying to do, if they're doing 12S ESCs, I have to imagine they're going to be pretty big, but you're still going to need to fit 4 of them in there.
I think if you're doing quad, you don't need to do 12S. Like there's like that's a little crazy.
Yeah. I think
Where are you gonna put all the batteries? That's like,
yeah, I mean that's another thing, is like if you're doing quad, I don't know, you're probably running a max of 8S. Like the power is ridiculous at that point. It's there's so much power for a quad 8S that it will never be used. Half of it will be used, I think.
yeah.
So I've already seen the log comparisons between some of the cars I've run and then James's quad car on 4S, and seeing the power delivery differences of 2 motors, 3 motors, and 4 motors. It's nuts how much power an 8S quad can actually produce. So I think definitely for the dual would be a 12S big. I think it would be a big hitter to do something like that, but
Yeah, dual would be cool, but
yeah, quad.
quad
I'm
12S
thinking of
is
like what they're gonna. Yeah, it's 250 project, right? Gosh, 12S battery.
12S battery.
Yeah, we don't have chargers for
then you need
12S battery.
a charger for that.
Mhm.
Mine can only go up to 10S, I think.
Yeah.
I only
Nice
got
one.
6, man. Jeez.
I got the 4010 iCharger and it's can't even do a 12S.
Yeah,
They'll have
charging a
to-
12S battery is tough. Charging would be difficult.
Yeah,
Uh,
two
Having a
6S.
12S is just sketch. That is so much voltage.
2 hours later.
Hold on.
Well, you could have 2 6 in one pack with 2 leads. You know.
Yeah, but at that point, just separate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm saying is for
Oh,
a dual motor, you'd have to stack batteries on top of each other on each side.
They
Single
need to be
motor,
as good as like the 6K cells.
yeah.
With,
I'm like,
with the extended chassis, would there be potentially enough room to have the 2 batteries running one in front of the other along the outer
Long
edges?
ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would be good if they could do that. It would be good weight balance, especially for a dual to have the motors in the back. Batteries, it would have one battery all the way forward, and then the next battery would be kind of like middle, heading towards the rear, and that'd be a really good weight balance.
Yeah, like how it is in this. It'd be like flipped in this diagram.
Yes, yeah. That way it'd be like a 70-30 or 60-40 weight distribution. So
Especially with that higher voltage too, you don't need to be running like the biggest 10,000 milliamp, 9,000
No,
milliamp
yeah.
packs. You only
Like
need like this is 6,000 and this is
yep.
not anything crazy. Like this
Yeah,
is next to 9,000 4S. It's not that much bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, 6,000 6S packs for a 12S setup, I think would be definitely sufficient. But yeah, I'll probably just send him some battery sizes, and if you guys want to do the same for any like the CNHLs and stuff, we can just give them like 4 or 5 examples of different packs. That way they have an idea of battery sizes.
Yeah, what people use.
Yeah.
yeah. Those CNHL 6000s are monsters.
Yeah, I had 2 of those in a car, and it's honestly not that bad of a squeeze. They're pretty thin compared to some of the other options.
Do they make those 9500 CNHLs and 6Ss?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are also
That's gotta
pretty.
be
They're
like a
not that
brick.
big.
Oh, really?
I built a 12S car that fit both of those, and it wasn't even a 7th scale, and it was pretty comfortable.
Alright.
They fit right on. They're like not that. They're not that much bigger. They're not that much bigger than a 4S.
Yeah.
Like they're just a little bit taller. Like you could easily stack 2 of them like
Oh,
next
so
to
they
each
go
other in a
taller,
car.
not wider?
Yeah, that's the way the CNHL ones go. I mean, like with the I have an Azure pack is a wide success, but some I could easily stack it like
Yeah.
like this. You know, it depends on just
Yeah.
how you have it oriented.
Yep.
I guess a lot depends on what they plan on manufacturing too.
Yeah. I mean, I know they're definitely going to make their own batteries like these 3S ones. And honestly, these 3S batteries have been doing pretty well. I can't complain with
Check resistance.
running them. Yeah. And Z-rate, everything very comparative to the CNHL 5K. It's
Yeah.
very
There's a lot of
similar.
manufacturers that make
Yeah.
pretty decent cells. Like to get top of the line stuff is a little difficult, but like getting like decent cells isn't too
Yeah.
hard.
One thing with this battery configuration, do you guys like how on the 787 chassis, they've got all the holes, I guess, for the battery straps to go through the chassis? Do you like that over having a battery tray like the VT2, which I know
I
most
don't like
people
the
just
battery
remove
tray.
those. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
that
remove
restricts
those
you.
out of all of
I
them.
would like the idea of having something like the Scorch
Buckle type
buckles,
thing.
because then like whenever I run the straps to the bottom, you know, occasionally you rip a strap or something happens and you tear up the straps and I go buy new straps. It'd be nice just to not have to worry about straps getting tore up.
Yeah, I do like the stoppers that they use, like the front and rear little alloy stopper
Yeah.
things.
I would like adjust, like if they're gonna do that, have a couple different
Adjustable.
holes to set the size.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
multiple points is smart.
I like the stoppers. I definitely like those. Those are nice.
Yeah, and then so they could do. Let's see, I'm trying to think like
Brackets on the side, similar to the stoppers, but brackets on the side where the straps can loop through.
Yeah.
And then up and over.
That way they're not going through the chassis.
Yeah, no, not through the chassis and not even under the battery. Literally
Yeah.
going as it goes over the battery, it goes through the inside slot, comes out, goes over the battery again, and the other one is already through that
So
side,
just
and then it just doubles over on itself.
press
If
down
you look
to
at
the chassis.
that, would give you 2 different widths, which
Yeah.
should cover pretty much all available widths. You don't need to have, slots where it would be sliding adjustability. Just
Yeah,
having those 2, because the Velcro, the straps themselves are going to hold them extremely well and keep them from moving side to side.
So just another set of holes is what you're
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good example would be look at the battery tray for the ProBoat Sonic Wake. You can put 2 3S or 2 2S, or you can put a single 4S or a single 6S. And even though you're only using a single 6S, which is a lot narrower than 2 3S, the way the straps still tightened down are going to prevent that battery from moving side to side. They are held extremely well.
Edison likes Vincent's car that Connor sent.
yeah, yeah, and that's how I have my dual set
It's
up.
like the ideal setup, honestly.
Yeah, that's
That's
how.
the way Scorch's car is too. And
Yeah, both of my BT2 duals are like that, having the batteries flat, low to the low center of gravity.
low into the
And
front.
so the thing is, Vincent's got straight 8S packs there. So that's why he can do that kind of crisscross battery strap setup. But when we were running some of his cars and he was running some of the 4S packs, I was just like gorilla taping the packs together, and because that was the only battery strap setup he had. So like, you know, there's some different ways to do it, but having stoppers front and rear would keep you from having to have that forward to back strap, and then you could just have two going across.
See, that's a little bit of a tight combo that's going on there.
Yeah, there ain't much room there. Like the
Yeah,
servo
this-
arm is
If
literally
you're gonna do
millimeter.
quad, you really need the bigger chassis. I feel like
Yeah.
you're not gonna running quad on a chassis like that. It's like too tight.
Yeah, no, you gotta
Too much
have
could go wrong.
100
You need
millimeter.
a specific
or
body for
bigger.
it. It just wouldn't fit under a normal body.
Yeah, but if we do a stretch or a full six, I think there'll be a lot more room. Yeah,
Well, like in that picture, the chassis doesn't even go out to the wheels, to the edge of the wheels.
Mhm.
That's no good.
Yeah, I think that is a scorched chassis. It is if you look.
it is. It's just under the batteries. It's just
Like you
tight.
can see the battery buckle sticking out, like
Yep.
two little silver dots.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can see
And
the
that-
line
that's
of the
exactly-
chassis.
I
But
see.
that is a scorched chassis. I mean, that's the widest chassis there is for the BT2.
Yeah, it looks like another one of Vincent's cars. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the type of bracket I'm
That
talking
is.
about, except having, you know, obviously no cross pattern, having the battery stops as are seen on the 787.
They're definitely going to be better. I'm glad it's sorted, but it would have been better if it was from the start. But
It's quality control is just difficult with
know.
this stuff.
I totally understand.
Later.
Q&A's, closing remarks. I don't know if there's anything you guys feel like as far as, I think we pretty much covered everything with the motor configurations, having, you know, multiple locations where the things can go, having dual mounts drilled front and rear so that it could potentially be done as a quad. And then we'll just make sure to supply some battery sizes so that they have an idea of what is generally being used. And then kind of maybe we can talk with them about batteries at some point too.
That would be a good
how
discussion.
it works. Yeah. So I don't know, the batteries that the cells they use, I mean, whatever they are, they can probably make a decent battery for like a general ready to run to do some pretty good speeds. Especially
5,000s?
dual. So what's that?
Are they 5,000s?
You
The
can get different.
3,300.
ones that I got with that dual were 5,000s.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, they could potentially just make some of those as 6S packs.
Yeah.
And they're pretty compact. They're the same size, like maybe a hair bit smaller than the CNHLs. So I mean, maybe they're a little smaller, like John and I were talking. I guess I haven't fully measured one, like discharged it and charged it to see what it's got in it, but
Are
Yeah,
they a
be
hard
careful with
case?
some of them.
They look like a hard case almost.
yeah, it kind of is, but I think it's just like the wrapping. I don't know. I honestly
Yeah,
haven't
plates in it.
looked at them too much. I cut the end open because the wrapping was like pressing too tight on the wire, where it, like I've seen it with the CNHLs, it'll cut into the insulation of the wires coming out. So I kind of cut the ends open, but that's pretty much it.
Tomorrow.
All right, see you guys.
You guys have a good night.
Later.
Take care.
See ya.